so interesting because you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit.
Hey,
with that
come
comment.
on.
That was a piece of
Interviews are meant to be controlled moments, a modest set, a polite host, a willing guest, and a sprinkling of publicity-approved anecdotes. Yet every now and then, the guest, comedian, rapper, Oscar winner, cultural lightning rod, decides the polite dance is over. Phones get slapped down, unprepared hosts are stripped of their composure, and the audience watches a real-time reversal in which the interviewee claims the studio-like occupied territory.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it.
Below is a seamless chronicle, one continuous narrative, built from dozens of combustible appearances. No direct transcripts, no meandering digressions. Just a clean, sweeping account of how these moments unfolded, why they mattered, and what each taught future hosts about inviting a hurricane to sit beneath the boom mic. Comedian Andrew Schulz arrived at the Full Send studio expecting the typical bar culture banter. 10 minutes in, the vibe was ice cold. One host scrolled his phone mid-question, another stared at the table, and no one seemed sure who would drive the conversation.
I think we lost him.
No, my fault. I don't even know where I was gonna go. Where are we at? I have no idea.
Schulz, a comic who thrives on crowd energy, watched the life drain from the room and finally snapped.
What bothers you the most right now?
Nothing.
Nothing bothers you?
You looking at your phone while we're doing this interview, and everybody seeming disinterested.
Were you looking at notes or texting girls?
Notes.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Me taking time out of my day to do this, and then feeling
Dude,
like
I've
I'm
never
forcing you guys to do the podcast.
I've never been more
That
excited to
annoyed
do
me.
a podcast.
Say again?
I've never been more excited. I'm sorry. I had to
Don't
look at my notes.
apologize. You don't have to apologize. You asked me what annoyed me, and I gave you an honest answer.
Wait, are you being serious about that?
Yeah, that annoyed me.
Really?
Yes.
So if
Is
someone
that surprising to you?
Well, if I'm looking at my notes, I have some things personally that I wrote that I wanted to ask you. Not on there.
Okay.
So I can't look at that and then ask you that?
I mean, you can, I guess.
What if someone in the audience is on their phone when you're doing that?
Then they're gonna get the same treatment you got.
Would you call them out?
Yes.
Have you done that before?
Yes.
And how's that reaction?
In a single breath, he pointed out the phone, the bored faces, and the unasked follow-ups, then shifted into a ruthless group assessment of their chemistry.
Are you guys friends with each other?
Yeah.
Like, genuinely?
Why, you don't get that vibe?
Yeah.
No,
Why not?
because the chemistry is weird.
Yeah, well, we usually have a different guy who sits in.
Yeah.
We wanted to have Steve on this one, so
Yeah,
he sat
with
in.
Brad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Brad too.
Yeah?
He's great. And what, Brad usually drives it or something like that?
What do you mean?
Like, is he usually driving the interview?
Why? You don't think we're doing a good job of that?
No, not really. I mean, it's not my favorite.
Is this a joke? I don't understand.
Right? Like, I don't know. Like, are you guys having a good time?
I was until that comment.
Is this what
But,
it's normally like?
No, I mean, I was having a good time.
Instead of deflating, the tension ballooned. The scrolling host, suddenly self-aware, asked Schulz for feedback. What he received was blunt therapy, the difference between genuine curiosity and hunting for viral clips, the falseness of nods, and the insecurity audible in voices that chase approval rather than conversation.
Well, that's what happens when you have real reactions when you're being phony.
When
When
was I
you're
phony?
phony with somebody
When
and
was
then
I
you get a
phony
real
with you?
reaction, you can't be upset.
When was I phony with
But you're
you?
doing exactly what you should do. You should try to get your moments. This is a good moment for you.
Bro, you're crazy. You think I'm doing this for clicks?
Even the way your voice sounds when you say it isn't real.
Are you
Do
serious
you think
right
you're
now?
being real?
I'm
just
asking
try to
you.
be
I
you.
mean, I'm supposed to be connected with you as Mish Bucha right now, but like you're coming at me, so I'm curious.
He thinks I'm Jewish.
You are, aren't you?
No.
Oh.
It was a masterclass in protecting one's time on camera. By the end, the podcast had flipped. Schulz was effectively the host, the crew were the guests, and anyone who books him today remembers to silence all devices before he walks in. If Schulz offered a phone check tutorial, Bill Burr delivered a doctorate in sustained counterpunching. First strike, Charlemagne the God. Invited to discuss relationships on The Breakfast Club, Burr shared a heartfelt anecdote that happened to involve a male friend.
I've only met two people that had like a vibe like her in my life. And the first one was a dude. He was just, so that wasn't happening.
Wasn't he tight?
No, he was like, no, just walked in the room, you know, and you just knew the person was coming in the room. She has that vibe, right? So,
Charlemagne underlined the detail. Was Burr certain the bond wasn't romantic? And Burr immediately swapped sincerity for scorched earth humor.
hold on. You got to clear that up. Let me be clear about that. You didn't date the guy.
No.
He challenged the show's casual homophobia, teased Charlemagne's manicured look, and spent the better part of an hour turning every attempted segue into a roast.
I just want to make sure.
Is it the first one?
When are black people gonna let go of this homophobia? You always got to check. Like, what are you doing
for the
with your
story.
manicured eyebrows? Like, I'm fucking gonna sit here and act like you're all good over there. Like, you don't swing a leg over the fence every once in a while.
The segment became half interview, half stand-up special, cementing Burr's rule. Jab at him once and prepare to become material for the remainder of the broadcast. Second strike, Howie Mandel. Promoting a new special, Burr sat opposite Mandel, who started with the classic, "Wait until your daughter's a teenager" bit, a line Burr loathes from self-confessed parenting failures.
Get ready, because you got a daughter, too. Wait till she's a teenager. Wait till the hell.
Everybody who fails as a father says that to me.
Moments later, Mandel introduced a surprise guest claiming to be Burr's half-brother, information the comedian had intentionally kept private.
Who's this guy?
This is Seth. He's our camera guy. And look who's here.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Sit down.
You're an asshole.
Billy Corrigan. Billy Corrigan.
Yeah.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
I thought this would be great to bring a family together.
He didn't tell you. He told me you were totally cool with me coming.
That's what he does. That's what he does.
I thought it would be
so
a
then,
good
like,
surprise.
can this be like edited out, or no?
I can go. I mean, you told me Bill was.
All right, fuck it. No, I'll do it. Like, did you ever think the fact that I never told that story, that, you know, maybe you shouldn't? Did you ever, you know how many fucking, like, emails and crap that I got? Like, I sort of, like, went away from that.
So let me just fill in. Let me just fill in.
Do we talk on a regular basis?
We've never met.
The atmosphere flatlined. Burr eventually played along.
It's not that I don't like him. It reminds me of all of that shit. So,
but later confirmed the ambush was real and that he was furious.
People want to know, were you really pissed?
Listen, I don't like talk about
your stuff.
Yeah, I don't. And so, like, Howie did what he did.
Yeah.
Because he is a Hollywood whore.
For interviewers, the lesson rang out. When a guest is famous for candor, don't assume he'll gift you a TV-friendly reunion of family ghosts. He might walk, he might torch your set, or he might simply never return, taking his millions of viewers with him. A morning show sofa is designed for breezy chatter, but Russell Brand turned one such appearance into a metaphysics seminar on basic respect. From the top, the hosts referenced him in the third person, mispronounced his name, and chuckled that they couldn't understand the accent.
When I see him in person, it's totally fine. Forgetting Sarah Marshall or the TV show, it's fine. But on satellite radio in the car, I can't understand a single joke you say.
You can't understand it.
Can you understand me? Yes, but no, I'm telling you, when I'm driving in the car and everyone's laughing in the audience of the radio, I'm like, I have no idea what he's saying.
It's best you focus on your driving, Brian. You're a man, you don't want to be distracted by humour. You might crash into a pedestrian.
Okay. So it's a good thing.
I think it's probably for the best.
I think I'm just this is my first
brand experience.
Yeah. I think it's not listening to him. It's experience. It's just sort of taking it all in.
Brand, never shy about power dynamics, interrupted the farce. He pointed out the absurdity of discussing him as though he were invisible.
You are talking about me as if I'm not here and as if I'm an extraterrestrial. You know I'm from a country that's near to you.
The hosts, stunned, tried a soft pivot, asking whether he would see a therapist named Willie Brand. Brand's raised eyebrow told viewers enough.
Would you do therapy with Willie Brand?
With who?
Willie Brand. Would you do therapy with him?
I don't, because
that's where he's heading.
Okay, I'm all right.
Yeah. You shouldn't say he when a person is present. You should refer to the person by their name. That's basic good manners.
That is where Willie is heading.
Who is Willie?
Corrected every pronoun and finally seized the show's steering wheel to plug his tour.
Okay, Russell Brand.
Is this what you all do for a living?
Yes.
Okay, but I'm here
professional.
Okay, well, let me help you. I'm here to promote a tour called Messiah Complex. It's here for the people of America. I want the people of America to come and see me do stand-up.
Producers had witnessed a complete role reversal. The guests set the agenda, the hosts fielded instructions, and Brand walked away having promoted exactly what he came to promote, while also scoring a tutorial on courtesy that daytime TV still replays in social media snippets. Cat Williams does not require an invitation to spar. He needs only a stray insult. Late in an Atlanta radio appearance, host Wanda Smith, still stinging from earlier ribbing, took a final dig at Williams' hairstyle.
All right, it's the People Station Viewer 3. Your hair is kind of...
That joint was.
My hair is 19 inches long and I have no perm.
You don't?
Oops.
Oh, that's not a perm.
No, it is not. Nice lady.
That's natural.
Come run one of your gnarled fingers.
While
While you on air, so they can hear you live.
Come on. Let me come over here.
No. That's not how that works.
Oh, okay. Well, then stay over there.
Don't worry, ain't nobody putting their hands through yours.
That's right. They don't have to.
In less than 60 seconds, the comedian leveled a barrage, comparing hair lengths, mocking jewelry budgets, flipping size jokes back on their creator, and finishing with a recital of his own felony count, 0 convictions, an important footnote.
Only one of our hands moving while we talk.
Are you all right this morning?
Tell Wanda to take off them headphones and that wig.
And make sure.
That wig and the headphones come
take
together.
off them old-ass clothes you got on.
Listeners laughed. Smith tried to pivot. Williams kept pressing.
If you can't get your blood pressure down, you can't call me down.
Whatever, little mama.
If your cholesterol is 600.
Whatever, little mama.
I'm little mama's baby daddy.
No, you little mama.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey,
and what are you, girl? You probably shouldn't talk about sizes.
Oh, that's okay.
You big on the radio.
That's right. And you're big
Turn
in
it
prison.
down.
And you're
yes,
big
ma'am.
in prison.
I've never been to prison.
You have
19
several
felonies,
times.
no convictions.
Yeah,
Knock it off. Prison and jail aren't the same. No.
Okay,
No.
Calm
No.
down, calm
Only
down.
one of us has $12 worth of jewelry on. No.
No, $12.
No.
The broadcast ended, but the feud spilled into the parking lot where Smith's husband allegedly brandished a weapon. No shots fired, yet the incident echoed across comedy circles. Never throw a casual barb at a master roaster unless you've cleared your afternoon for fallout management. Elsewhere in the influencer orbit, comedian Matt Rife accepted an invitation to a Tana Mongeau podcast, knowing full well that co-host Brooke Schofield was an ex-flame. Rife chose the amnesia strategy, acting as if they'd never met.
We have the world's most requested guest today.
We really do.
The most cancelable guest. This is perfect. So fitting.
I'm so excited to dive into everything, sincerely.
Tana, allergic to subtlety, weaponized the moment. She equated public hate with jealousy, dragged Osama bin Laden into an analogy, and needled Rife until the episode creaked under discomfort.
I guess epiphany that I've had recently. Because so many fucking people hate me for really no reason. And it really made me realize that people only hate somebody they're jealous of.
Trying to wrap my head around. Do you think people who hate Osama bin Laden are jealous of him?
Yeah, of course.
Rife skipped the next press stop, and booking agents took note. Unresolved personal history plus reality. YouTube hosts equals unstable airtime. Joan Rivers on CNN. Asked why she mocked celebrity gowns, she answered plainly, because the stars earn more per picture than most viewers will see in 10 lifetimes.
Really? It's not me. We're one of the few shows that says, that's an ugly dress. And that's okay. These ladies make $28 million a picture. You really think Nicki Minaj cares I didn't like her dress?
The host shifted focus to the fur coat on Rivers' book cover, assuming a quick scolding about animal rights would dent the comedian's armor.
On the cover of your book, you're wearing a fur, and you knew that there would probably be animal rights activists.
You know, this whole interview is becoming a defensive interview.
No!
Are you wearing leather shoes?
Yeah,
shut up.
I'm talking.
You know what I mean? I don't want to hear.
Rivers instead highlighted the interviewer's own leather shoes and embarked on a rant so blistering she ultimately removed her microphone and left the set.
Wear fur that was killed 15 years ago. I work for animal rights. Stop it with, and you do this, and you're mean, and you're that. You are not the one to interview a person who does humor. Sorry.
Are we serious?
It wasn't a walk-off born of fragility. It was an on-air tutorial. If you enter a debate armed with hypocrisy, expect the punchline to land on you. Pharrell Williams and blurred lines. In a sit-down pegged to the song's controversy, a reporter tried cornering Williams on the lyrics' implications. Pharrell calmly explained the concept. Blurred attraction, not predation.
It meant that she's a good girl, and even good girls have bad thoughts. Hence the term blurred lines. So when you're hungry, and I can tell you're hungry, and I say, I know you want it, does that mean I'm gonna f you?
Well, you know,
don't answer the question. You gotta be fair.
That's a clever.
But you, I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be. No, it wasn't.
When pressed again, he flipped the format, asking the journalist about her own private thoughts.
Do you have a significant other? Okay. Are there ever times where you have naughty thoughts.
Who's doing this interview? I would never answer a question like that.
You would never answer a question like that. And that's why that song needs to exist. You love your significant other, but you can't even say out loud that sometimes you have naughty thoughts.
We're getting off.
Wait, but I asked you though. You can be a man and ask me about what my intentions were. Why can't I ask you what your intentions are?
Because I'm the interviewer and you're the interviewee, and everybody's interested in you, the global superstar.
Right, and if they're interested in me,
the television
if they're interested in me, then they would want to hear what I think.
Pharrell highlighted the contradiction, a host demanding transparency while denying the same of herself. Precisely the double standard the song critiques. The network trimmed that exchange from the final cut. Internet cadets reinstated it within hours. Post-NFL Protest America wanted every black celebrity to hold a banner. Lil Wayne, raised in rarefied music circles since age 11, offered a different lens.
What's your reaction to Kaepernick's protests?
Going right back again to this man. It's a man and his decisions, man. Respect the man and his decision. That's all I can do. I have no opinion on it because the things that's, I'm not into it enough to even give an opinion. So when he did it, I really didn't even know what. Somebody had to tell me why he was doing it. That's how much I didn't know what was going on.
He claimed he had never personally experienced racism.
Where are we in the United States of America in race relations, and what you see from day to day in your life?
Skip, they wouldn't want to ask me that. They wouldn't want my answer to represent it because God knows I have been nothing but blessed. My whole path, these 33 years have been nothing but a blessing. I have never, never is a strong word, never dealt with racism, and I'm glad I didn't have to. And I don't know if it's because of my blessings, I don't know if it's, but it is my reality.
Whether viewers believed him or not, the statement reflected his life story. Yet interviewers pressed him repeatedly, eager for a conformity sound bite.
You told me the only black face you could see in the whole audience was your makeup artist. I believe that's what you said, and she was in the front row, right? A lot of white kids love rap.
Yes.
Explain that. What does that say to you? What's the message of it? What's the bigger picture of it?
I don't want to be bashed because I don't want to sound like I'm on the wrong if there is a side, but I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism. That's what I thought that was.
Okay.
That was a perfect example.
The final time, Wayne ended the segment abruptly, reminding audiences that personal testimony, however unusual, cannot be willed into a headline designers find palatable. Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes. In one 7-minute monologue, he dismantled Hollywood's performative activism, pointing at Apple's sweatshop history, lampooning Amazon, Disney, and even imagining a theoretical streaming platform run by a terror group.
Apple roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, a superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China. So, well, you say you're woke, but the companies you work for, unbelievable.
His advice to winners: accept the statue and leave. The audience does not need a lecture from millionaires wearing borrowed diamonds.
Apple, Amazon, Disney. If ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent, wouldn't you? So, if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, f*** off, okay?
Quentin Tarantino on Real Time. Conversing with Bill Maher, Tarantino lamented how contemporary awards circuits favor ideology over storytelling.
Ideology is more important than art.
Way more, certainly to the awards.
Yeah. And it's just, it's like, ideology trumps art. Ideology trumps individual effort. Ideology trumps good. Ideology trumps entertaining.
There's two kinds of movies, virtue signalers and superhero movies.
For every wave of moral homogeneity, he pointed out, cinema eventually delivers a creative backlash. The 1950s sanitized everything. By 1967, New Hollywood was reborn.
It comes in waves. This absolutely comes in waves, all right? So it's like, okay, just looking at the 40s, all right, that was during the wartime, but that's also the time that you had film noir. You had these dark, dark stories that were being told. But then after the war was won, then you had the 50s, which was the first of the completely homogenized decades, where you couldn't say if you had a mouthful. If there was anything sexual about it or anything, that's all going to be drained out of the movie. And then, to me, it's one of the worst decades in Hollywood is the 50s. And the 60s was the 50s part 2. Right. But then what we think of as the 60s starts in about 67, and that's when New Hollywood comes out. Yeah. And that's an absolute positive response to the homogenized 50s.
Tarantino's signal to young filmmakers was clear. Wait out the tide or paddle beyond it. Either way, art will reassert itself. During a 60 Minutes interview, Freeman rejected Black History Month, arguing that relegating any culture to a single month perpetuates division.
History Month you find ridiculous.
Why? You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? Well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either.
Asked how racism can be eradicated, he answered, by ceasing to obsess over category.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it.
The magic wasn't only in what he said, but in how. Calm, certain, entirely devoid of rhetoric. Some viewers cheered, some bristled, but nobody forgot the stillness with which he pressed his point. A BBC journalist claimed hate speech had spiked on Twitter after Musk's takeover. Musk requested a single example. The journalist stalled, then admitted he no longer used the feed that allegedly horrified him.
You've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples.
Personally, my For You, I would see I get more of that kind of content.
Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I don't.
You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that For You feed anymore because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
and
said
actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second.
my
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen the For You hateful content. And I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying...
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed the hateful content was high.
Well...
That's a false.
No, what I claimed...
You just lied.
What? No.
Musk labeled the claim a fabrication.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't...
The clip spread faster than any editorial the reporter had hoped to file, serving future interviewers a brief. If you quote data, bring the receipts. Mike Tyson, meeting with a Toronto mayoral candidate, granted local TV a short interview. The anchor suggested Tyson's past conviction could harm the politician. Tyson called it a negative framing.
Some of your critics would say, there's a race for mayor. You're a convicted because this could hurt his campaign. How would you respond to that?
Hey, I don't know who said that. You're the only one I heard say that. You know what I mean? And I don't have no comment to that, because it's negative and you're being negative. And I met the mayor, and nothing they can do about it.
We actually had a really good time.
The anchor pressed. Tyson's patience evaporated. The former heavyweight champion dropped an expletive on live television and challenged the host to confront him off-air.
It's so interesting that you come across like a nice guy, but you're really a piece of shit.
Hey,
with that comment.
Come on.
No, that was a piece of you. That was a piece of shit.
We're doing live TV.
Hey, I don't care. What you gonna do about it?
All right, you got a show that you're doing tonight. We are. A lot of people are. Where it comes raw and
Footage rocketed around the planet, half condemning, half cheering, but unanimously reinforcing that if you dig for old dirt, you may trigger the very volatility that once filled stadiums. Following a heartfelt White House plea for mental health funding and universal background checks,
we need to invest in mental health care. We need to restrain sensationalized media coverage. We need to restore our family values. We need responsible gun ownership. Responsible gun ownership. We need background checks.
McConaughey visited The View. Hosts expected to pin him as anti-gun in his home state. Instead, he dismissed the premise.
Do you think you could get elected in Texas being anti-gun?
Do I think I could get elected in Texas being anti-gun? One thing about if me in politics is...
Delivering a lesson in media aikido, he refused any categorical label and warned that single-sentence politics is a game he does not intend to play.
To give you a direct statement right there is playing a game that I'm not interested in playing. To give you a direct statement right there.
The panel recognized the stalemate and pivoted. It was a quiet victory. No fireworks, yet a potent demonstration of maintaining message discipline. BBC to Ricky Gervais. Your special is sexist because no women were on stage.
Hey, so I want to ask you about the HBO special, Talking Funny. We just saw a clip from it, right? So we got Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Louis C.K. No women comedians on that panel?
Gervais. They were his closest friends. The joke counted on trust. Statistically, fewer women pursue stand-up, but countless are brilliant.
Who would you replace?
I don't know.
No, because it was four people. It's just 4 people. Yeah, so who would you take off?
I wouldn't. I would just add.
There you go. Exactly, like they're my friends and I chose my friends. Oh, and also, men are intimidated by funny women, so we didn't want them in the room. That's a joke.
The conversation petered out when the hosts realized he'd answered calmly, factually, and without defensiveness. No outrage to fuel a headline. BBC to ASAP Rocky at Oxford Union. Does crude language about women alienate female listeners?
A lot of the music is quite crude about women and sometimes insulting. So do you think that your music isolates women and prevents us from listening to your music compared to men?
At times, yeah, because I do it to men too.
You do it too?
It isolates men too. I don't discriminate.
Men?
Yeah, at times. How many songs you hear? I don't with you niggas. It's the same thing. You dudes, It's just that we diss men all the time. I don't think it's a point of. You really want to talk about the reader thing? Is that what this is about or something?
Sorry?
Or is this about is this like a woman, justice thing about Rita or something like that? Is that what this is?
No, I don't listen to Rita Ora.
What do you want to battle me right now or something? Like you just like loud aggressive.
Do I seem mad?
Is that not aggressive?
I do.
Rocky reminded the student he insults men with equal gusto and noted that at day's end, he's an artist, not a moral linguist.
At the end of the day, I'm not here to talk about the difference between and women. I don't, for me, what I will say is when we make music, we articulate. I'm 26, I've met a lot of women, but I met a lot of I don't know what you, I speak about both.
Am I a bitch or a woman?
I don't know you well enough to tell. I know you're a bitch. You're supposed to say I'm a bad bitch. See, that's what I'm saying.
Rocky concluded to applause, leaving the question of lyrical equality in the realm of artistic license. Joan Rivers, Bill Burr, Mike Tyson, Lil Wayne, different temperaments, same radar for lines crossed. A walkout, when executed, must feel earned. Rivers waited until the host's hypocrisy was undeniable. Burr left Mandel's studio only after the pre-arranged boundaries were shredded. Wayne and Tyson reacted the instant they detected a journalist chasing outrage rather than insight. These exits reverberate precisely because they are rare. The guest forfeits publicity to preserve dignity, signaling to future hosts that gotcha games can carry real-world costs. Every appearance holds an unwritten contract, time exchanged for respect. The host promises preparation, presence, and a degree of honesty. The guest promises availability, candor, and maybe a headline or two. Break the pact by scrolling the phone, mispronouncing the name, twisting the narrative, or springing hidden relatives. And the guest may reclaim the stage in spectacular fashion. Sometimes they deliver a clinic in humor, sometimes in philosophy, sometimes in raw fury. Whether it is Andrew Schultz dissecting body language, Bill Burr turning a panel into a roast, Russell Brand commandeering breakfast television, or Ricky Gervais lampooning corporate virtue, each of these figures reminds us that conversation is a living thing. Treat it carelessly, and it will erupt. Live for millions to witness. Hosts, choose wisely. Audiences, enjoy the fireworks. And if you ever find yourself sitting across from a sharp-tongued comic with a global fan base, remember the oldest rule in broadcasting? Put your phone away.